Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sixth Letter to Earth. Welcome to Sixth Letter to Earth, everyone. My name is Kyle, and welcome to the podcast where we support the F word here, guys. And the F word is freedom, and that's a big topic we're talking about today is freedom. And the main topic is how free can we truly be? Like, when we have freedom, what can we expect from freedom? How free can we truly be? Because we can't be free to do everything, right? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today here on Sixth Letter to Earth. So, we're going to talk about some ideas on limits on freedom. Some freedom limitations we should have on freedom. And that's a great topic. It's a great thing to ask. It's a great thing to ask yourselves, well, should there be limits, right? So first off, let's talk about what I think freedom means. What is your definition of freedom? My definition of freedom is to freely be able to express your opinion on topics and also being able to choose the actions without any limitations. Alright? So I believe you should be able to do what you want, go where you want, say what you want. That is freedom. Where you're not being restricted on saying things you want to say and all that. Right? The dictionary says freedom is the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. So it's pretty much exactly what I said. Like, we want to be able to say what we want to say. We want to be able to do what we want to do. We don't want people saying, no, you can't do that. Yes, you do this. You can't do that. You have to think like we do. That's what freedom is. We shouldn't be told how to think. We shouldn't be told what to say. We shouldn't be told where to go. We should be told what to do. Because honestly, I feel like we should have the freedom to do whatever we want for the most part. Right? We should be able to say mostly what we want. Go wherever we want to. And obviously there's some restraints and arguments that can be made against allowing everyone to say whatever or do whatever. Okay? Because obviously you can't be free to do everything we want to do. So, like, how can we tell what should be a restraint on our freedoms? So let's first talk about an action that no one should be allowed to do. It's already dictated by law. Right? It's already dictated by law. And most religions go against this too. And that is murder. Murder should never be allowed. Most laws and religions do account for this. But then why do we have wars? And a lot of wars are made on religious wars. Like, they'd be like, oh, you got killed because I got to kill you because you don't believe the God I believe in. Which, again, I say is a negative event. And I feel like it's a negative energy telling people to go kill others because they don't believe the same God you believe. If you remember my religion episode, what I said about religion is, I believe all religions are correct because I believe we are all praying to the same divine being with different names and stories. However, man wants to control us, so what man does is they try to make it seem like you can only support one. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through some of these. Actually, I want to do this is to compare like the rules of Christianity to the rules of Judaism and kind of go through some of the morals in life. Like, is being a Christian meaning you're a good person? And like see what kind of rules they have. The one thing is the Judaism is they have 613 commands in the Torah. So I kind of just want to pinpoint most of them and kind of go through how I feel about each one and see if it's like to me, if I feel like it's a good thing or not. That'll just be a personal opinion about Judaism. I think that would be a fun episode to do. And then obviously the 10 Commandments. We could go through the 10 Commandments, and I feel that was something I was going to do with this episode, but I feel like that's a whole different episode because religion can be something that people have a negative mindset on, which I do. I kind of feel like religion is more manipulated by man. Right? So, anyways, since we go into that, since we know, which for me, I feel religion is manipulated by man, and a man is telling you to only worship the one God. Like, you only worship this God. Anyone who doesn't worship him is evil. I feel like that's a tactic done by man to kind of add division and add people to make it like gives a fuel to the fire for murder. So I remember war is just a bunch of murders happening, and I just feel like it's not fueled by positivity. Like for the most part, when we kill something, our main survival instinct is to kill or be killed. But when we think about that, it's kind of primitive way of thinking of things. If we're out in the wild and an animal is attacking us, we have to protect ourselves, so we need to kill the animal. However, large groups of people killing others over land and material goods and religious beliefs seems to be a very primitive task, and I just feel nowadays we should be able to talk through the issues. We have bureaucracies and representatives that should be able to negotiate through these disputes. However, unfortunately, some of these leaders are stuck into that primitive mindset, and they want to bully around other countries, and you know what? They're controlled by dark energy, by negative energy, and they'll force wars onto people. And you know what? I'm not going to name countries because every country does it. There's countries who force wars onto other countries. There's I feel like that right there should not be allowed to be done. I feel right there, if you're doing that, that should honestly be eliminated from. We shouldn't be allowed to do that. We shouldn't do that. But unfortunately, with the governments, and when it comes to government, we have an unwritten contract with our government that we are a citizen of that country, and we are kind of bound by the rules that they set into our place by elected officials, in quotations, who tell us what the people want, in quotations. So we kind of have that social contract where they can control our lives like that. And they can start wars with people, and we may not support it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe your country is the same way. Maybe you don't support wars, but your country does, and your country wanted to go to wars. So it's not you, the person, who is bad. It's the governments that are controlling the world that are bad. And they forcing war on everyone. So I feel like when it comes to murder, let's get back to murder. When it comes to murder, I just feel like you shouldn't just walk up to someone around the street and just stab them. Like, boom, shoot them, boom. You should never be allowed to that. I think we can all agree across the board. Murders should not be allowed on that aspect. But I feel like the only way murder is acceptable is if it's in self-defense. If it's in, you need to defend yourself because a dangerous situation is arising. And you must kill that person or thing to prevent it from killing you or anyone else. I feel murder, that's the only time murder is acceptable. Right? So, when it comes to that, I feel murder should always be a last resort. And I feel like that is one limitation of freedom that should be allowed. Right? The other thing I feel we need to have limited freedom on is the restriction of others' freedoms. I don't think we should be allowed. I feel like we should not be allowed to restrict other people's freedoms. And by that I mean, I don't think we should be able to restrict their. Think about it. You can't restrict someone's freedom of movement. That's kidnapping or wrongful confinement. Right? You can't restrict someone's freedom of speech. That's censorship. Right? You censoring other people, then that's not very good either. You can't restrict someone's thoughts. That's manipulation and censorship again. So I feel like those are all things that I feel like at that point in time, with those two things, murder and limitations on people's thoughts or limitations on people's freedoms. I feel like those two things are the major things across the board, no matter what, we shouldn't be allowed to do. You can't force, you shouldn't be able to tell if someone does not want to do something. I don't think you should be forcing them into, and that comes into everything we do. Like, I think it's not fair that people are being forced into doing something when they do not feel comfortable doing it. Let's just say the click, the poke, it was a big one. You know, some people didn't want to do it. Some people didn't want to get it. You know what? The majority of people got it if we believe the numbers that a man told us. If we believe those numbers and everything, then yeah, go ahead. But I don't know. I just feel like we shouldn't be forced into doing something that we don't want to do. And when it comes to health, I feel like that should apply. As bad as the disease is, I think we can all be socially acceptable and learn. Like, yeah, there's maybe some people, obviously, you look at it, there's going to be some people who don't learn. There's going to be people who won't learn and won't get with the program, won't be safe and everything like that. Right? And obviously, there's going to be some of us that are going to follow every single rule, and we're all going to be scared and sheltered for the rest of life. There's got to be a balance. It's got to be a balance. Like with me, I like when it comes to like me being told what to do, like especially I already told you this. For me, I don't mind social distancing. I love social distancing. I didn't mind that rules. Those rules, and then also when they're restricting the amount of people in stores, I love that. Like, yeah, sure, we had to wait outside the line a little longer. It took a little longer sometimes to get in. But I tell you, I would take those days over having the overcrowdedness and people not caring about our space any day. That was like probably my favorite time of COVID, when no one wanted to be near you. Like, literally, that was probably my favorite time that COVID was around. But the government's placed rules on us, and they're trying to say some health. I feel that's not right. I feel like we shouldn't be restricted on our freedoms with that. So, with that, like I said, I feel like those are the two major ones that we could talk about, and those are the two major ones that we have. But let's talk about speech. What about freedom of speech? Like, surely people can't be just making threats or violent conversation, depending on what you think violent conversation is. Like, I'm talking about, like, physical threats or describing something violent in nature is what I think about it. I don't think people calling someone a name or being rude to them necessarily is violence. It's rude, and I'll get to that in a second. But with threats, I feel threats is one that we have to kind of take seriously at some point in time, because threats can be important. Threats can trigger people and make people upset. So I feel threats are kind of like one of those things that we need to keep up with. I think that's one of the things we need to take serious, as someone say. Right? Like, I think we can use our minds to really think about it, but I truly think when it comes to violent language and threats, and even we could go in like sexual threats or something like that in nature, I guess that all really shouldn't be allowed. I think that should be restricted on freedom. We should take it serious, but I think for the most part we can determine as a human race what is right and what is wrong. I feel like we should be able to do that. The problem is I don't think we are trusted to do so. So now what about people who speak bad, like they speak racist, sexist, or discriminatory language and bullies? Like, and obviously all that is disgusting, and obviously all that should not be accepted. And they are bad, and we need to eliminate those kind of language. We need to be nice. We need to show love to everyone, no matter what they are, no matter what gender they identify as, whatever they identify as, whatever race they are, whatever gender they are, wherever they live, like whatever height they are. No one should have to deal with people being mean. However, unfortunately, humans are sometimes controlled by positive and negative energy. The problem is There's a balance always. There's always a balance of positive energy and negative energy. And that's the thing. The thing is, you gotta fight that negative energy, and it's so hard. It's really, really hard. Like, it's hard because we want to be able to be free to say what we want, but we also don't want our feelings hurt. We don't want to feel unsafe. We don't want to feel discriminated against. But at the same time, I feel like I just feel like we need to stop. I just feel like we can't just censor people over their language and what they say. I feel like if we try to feed the negative energy or say, like, give them warnings on apps like, oh, don't you talk like that, or you flag them and they get kicked off. Just kicking them off of the site doesn't do anything because they're not going to learn anything. I think what's more important is to not feed into their energy. Ignore their messages. Don't react to it. And show that you support equality. You support everyone being happy. You don't support discrimination, and you don't support bullying. You show love. You show happiness. That is what's going to get us forward. And that's where I think we need to use our minds. We need to be able to hear some thoughts come in. We need to be like, okay, that thought's not very nice, and that's very racist. Maybe I'll just stop associating myself with this person. Or, or just explain to them, hey, I don't want to talk about that. That's not my cup of tea. Let's move on from it. I just feel like if we argue with these kind of people, I feel like we're not going to get anywhere. And I feel like we're just going to run in circles, and we can get in arguments, and they could explode into so much more. So I just feel like the better way is just ignore it. Just try to show that you support equality and you support positivity and nothing like that. Seriously. And that's what I want to do with this community. That's something I want to show everyone here, is that I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care where you live in the world. I don't care what your gender is or what you identify as. I don't care about what your sexuality is. Alright? I don't care about your age. Alright? If you need help, if you want positive advice, you need some positivity help, or anything like that, you can always talk to me, or come on Saturdays on positivity streams on Twitch. My Twitch is 6th Letter to Earth. This is where we're going to start having some positivity, where we'll have some free time where you guys talk about the subjects you want to talk about, and we try to think positive ways to work through these topics. I'm also going to be having wellness tips going on. I'm going to be putting some meditation videos, some stretches. I'm going to do some yoga. And if I'm feeling good enough, I might do a karaoke. I might sing a karaoke song at the end of the night or anything. Or we'll see how it goes. These are positivity streams, and we'll also watch some funny videos. And you can always send some videos in if you want to see if we can watch them during the positivity stream. There's sound alerts. There's, we could pray, meditate, talk, all the things. And we'll have sneak previews of the podcasts at hand. So come on, starting Saturday, May 7th. And every Saturday at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, come on to my Twitch, 6th Letter to Earth, just like the podcast, all no spaces. And also, you can click my link tree in the description of this podcast. It's like link.tr.ee. I think /6L2E. It's on every description. I have it on every description of every single podcast. So just click that. Follow everything I do and find where you can find the podcast. So, there we go. Alright, so the final thoughts about this subject. I feel more than ever we need to be able to use our brains more. I feel like for the longest time we've been told to not think for ourselves, to not use discernment. I feel like we've been told to cower away and not be brave. I feel like we've been told to shelter ourselves and be coddled so we're not scared of the big boogeyman of racists or something, or sexists or something like that. Like, yes, they're out there and we need to be aware of them, but I don't think we need to be scared of them. I think what we need to do is show that we are better than them. We need to show that we are bigger than them. We are not them. It'll be more important and it'll be better for us if we could go there and show them love and happiness and show them like we do support everyone. Everyone's equal. And I don't care what you say. I support everyone. I love everyone. Everyone is awesome in my books. Right? And as long as you start showing that, there's nothing you can't do. Right? Like, you need to be able to use your, I call it the gatekeeper, your mind. You need to be able to choose how to react to things. Right? Someone calls you a name that you don't like that's racially charged. Put it in your mind, be like, okay, that person's not very nice. They obviously said a racist joke. I don't want to talk with them. You know what? You couldn't even say it right there. You know what? But you don't even need to waste your energy at that. You know what? You could say like, oh yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, man. I don't like that. You could be upfront and say, look, I'm sorry, I don't talk like that. I'm not like that. Or you know what? Just ignore them. Just walk away, and then if they ask, hey, what's wrong? It's like, sorry, I don't appreciate the way you're talking. You're gonna have to be open with them. They might just say, hey man, this is a joke, or whatever. It's like, yeah, but some people don't find it as a joke. Some people don't find it as a joke, and some people don't like that. So you gotta be. There's some things you can say to kind of help the situation if you run into a situation like that. So just remember, I think, to be honest, we gotta use our brains. We gotta train our brains more to hear things that we don't like. We gotta hear things we don't like, because that's what freedom of speech is. Because the opposite end of getting more freedom is to be more restricted. And it's just the thing. I feel like with these emotions, you think like, oh yeah, we're being more equal and everything, and we're gonna be so much better by limiting what people see and everything like that. That's so good, because they won't see that hate, they won't see the anger, and they won't see the negativity attached to it. But what you're actually doing is removing it from history so no one can learn. So the lessons can't be brought up, and you're also like you're manipulating what people should know, because you're trying to manipulate history to remove things to the past that things happened. You can't do that. You need to allow history to be history, because how else can we learn from our past if we keep changing the history, removing it so we're not there? I agree we shouldn't glorify the bad things, and also we need to be honest with ourselves. There's some nasty stuff that happened in our history, and obviously we shouldn't glorify it. I 100% agree. But I also say, on the same flip of the coin, I feel like we need to be able to use our brains to feed the energy to what everything is. I feel like we should be able to acknowledge some people did good things and some people did bad things. You know, I feel like we should be able to acknowledge that there has been evil things happening in the world, but also support some of the good things that happen in the world. And I feel like the problem is the people who want to control us want to put us into a box. Okay? They want to put us into a box. And what they want us to do is to stay in that box and not come out of it. Because if we come out of that box, we can be bouncing all over the place and they can't control us. But if we're in a box that they made for us, where they say, you are, like for me, I am a 25 to 35 Caucasian male who, and I am this demographic, so this means I have to do this. Since I am this, I have to be this. That is what they want us. That's what they want us to think. You know what that is? That is primitive. If you think that just because I am this means I am that, you automatically assume that just because I am this, that I am that, you're being controlled. And you gotta think about it. Like, maybe not being controlled, but you are being manipulated a bit, because you're automatically thinking, oh, if A is this color, then A has to be that too. That's so discriminatory, and the boxes are being placed there. And that's the other thing. It's like maybe because you don't necessarily support the full aspects of some of these things, doesn't mean that you don't support the person. It's not like you're being rude to the person. You're trying to discriminate against the person. But maybe you don't fully support like all these topics. Obviously, there's some good topics. There's some bad topics. Maybe you don't support the topic that person likes or believes in. You know what? You may be like, hey, you know what? I don't agree with that belief, but that's your belief. And I support you for supporting it. If that's what you believe in, you go right ahead and believe in it. Because I feel like that is a way we can all start working on our minds and unlocking our minds and stop getting dragged down into these hatred battles that they keep throwing onto us. Remember, you choose how you react to the situations. You could choose to feed negative energy to situations or positive energy to situations. Which way you decide to go, you can feed into either or if you want. Sometimes our brain is too quick and we instantly go to the negative. But we need to try to train our brains to be more positive and think, okay, wait, what's going to happen? We need to be more positive here. Because here's the thing. The more we train our gatekeeper, the more we think about these things and use our own discernment, you know what happens? The more free we get. The more free we get, guys. Because, like, we would be able to do more. And that's the thing, is if a situation came up, and if you could train your brain, you know how to react to these situations a bit more better if you're training your brain on taking information in so you're not panicking. Because, see, if you're stuck in the same mindset, you do the same things, you see the same things every day, you don't get challenged, you don't get upset with anything, you don't get challenged with anything, how do you expect to grow? You can't grow. There's no way for you to grow. You'll just be stuck in the same routine over and over again, and you'll feel safe because you're coddled and you're in bubble wrap, but your brain can't discern. So if something out of the ordinary happens, like say someone takes a knife into your bubble wrap, you don't know what you're going to do. You're like, okay, well, what the hell? I have no idea. I'm panicking. What the fuck, man? There's so much going on. What am I supposed to do? I'm freaking out. My mind can't calm down. Well, that's where if you have more control of your mind and you control your gatekeeper, you can calm yourself down. You're like, okay, like just quickly think this through. Like, is the knife go through here? If I can wiggle my way out and get moving, that's what I need to do. So, I don't know. This is all just kind of a big allegory to freedom of speech and being yourself and being what you need to be. So, and because as we keep working along this, we will be eventually working one step by step by bringing freedom to the world. Guys, we'll be freedom to the world. I truly feel we can do that. I want to bring freedom to you guys. I want you guys to be free. Release the shackles that are in your brain and start moving forward with your life. But most importantly, like I said, freedom to your mind. Those shackles come off. You think clearer. You may think better. That is what I want us to do, and that's what we need to do as a collective. So, thank you all for being here. The next episode will come out this Saturday or Saturday soon. Whichever podcasting app you listen to this to. It's exclusively on these podcast apps. You can only listen to it on these podcast apps. My updates are going to come mid podcast from now on or at the end of the podcast. So these updates will happen there, just so everyone's aware. I'm just taking a little bit of time so we can do that. Twitch, if you didn't hear, I'm only going to stream one day a week, and it's going to be Saturdays. That way I can balance out my podcast. I can balance out my home life. And yeah, the podcast is going to be one that is going to come out Saturday at noon, and you wait till that evening, and I'll do a sneak preview. So Saturday, May 7th, and every Saturday night afterwards, I will be doing a positivity stream at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, where I will be, like I said, we already said it in the mid-show, but I figured we would just tell you once more at the end of the show. My link tree is in all the descriptions again. And hopefully you guys can check out my Twitch. And hopefully this has been a good episode. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Sixth Letter to Earth.